Hey, this is Geoffrey Paschel, and you're listening to the Domenick Nati Show.
How much time elapsed from you leaving Russia to you being on a date with Mary?
From what you saw, it was roughly about 3 months. It was Mary's birthday. That's when I went. That's why I took her to dinner. That's why I gave her flowers. You know, the conversation moved into something more romantic, and it kind of went from there. And then pretty much Varya showed up the next day. So it was like a spontaneous thing going.
Like, did the producer say, hey, somebody's coming? Do you have any sort of...
No. This was a complete surprise, 100%. I know it people, I hear people say, oh, this is so staged. This is so fake. Completely. I was caught in the moment. You saw my shit-eating grin on. I was like, I didn't know what to do. It felt like my heart went down to my toes. But it was completely in that moment, and Mary was still at my house from the night before. So.
Oh, okay. So you guys consummated the relationship.
I didn't think about consummation. We hung out that night. She came over. She drank a little bit, so I didn't let her drive, kind of thing. And we hung out. Sitting
there, heard a knock at the door. I had no idea
And so the doorbell rang. And I assumed it was production because they were going to come over and film some B-roll, film me doing whatever. The thing about it is they had no idea Mary was there. They had zero idea themselves. So there was no communication in that because they were tending to Varya, bringing Varya out and filming Varya. And they told me, hey, we're going to be there in 30 minutes, open the gate, tie up the dog, whatever, which I did all that. Went back in the house, hung out, talked a little bit, heard the doorbell ring. I answered the door, and lo and behold, my door panel is translucent, so you can't really see through it. You can see through it, but you can't see what's on the other side, basically.
Right.
So I answered the door thinking it was production, and it was Varya with her, surprise! What do I do?
Were you thinking about her at all at that moment, or did you completely moved on?
No, the show was, in my mind, the show was wrapped. We're just tying up loose ends. And that's what I was told anyway. And then, with Mary going on, 3 months, I wasn't in mourning, it's like nobody died in that sense. It was just me getting over, moving past. It wasn't a rebound because I was with Mary long ago and first. So if anything, I was rekindling, and basing it off the emotions I was feeling. And so when, Varya showed up again, it was kind of like, what the hell, what do I do? And plus, she had been messaging me, for the past several weeks to a month. I had been ignoring her or sending this, she's like, hey, how's your day? I'm like, hi, fine. Just kind of really low key, kind of, let it die down. I don't feel like I broke up with her when I left. I feel like she ended the relation. Like, this is all set that we're going to go there, that, potential marriage is in the forecast one day, we're going to get engaged, whatever. And, with that said, with her turning me down with a not now, so I was done. I just couldn't do it anymore. I put so much into it, and I didn't feel like I got it back.
Is Mary at your house now, or are you guys?
No, Mary's not at my house now.
Okay, you're not spending every night together? Yeah.
No, Mary's not at my house.
Now, what about the charges against you? Do you feel like you're going to beat these charges?
I don't feel like I'm going to. I know I'm going to.
You're going to.
I know the truth. And that's, you got all these people putting all this press and this negativity and whatever else out there. I know what happened. I was there, and I'm ready to face it. And every time my court date gets put off, specifically due to the pandemic, I'm pushing it, trying to get the quickest court date that I can and get this stuff over with.
That's you, right?
Yeah.
No, it's okay.
So I'm trying my best to push off or get this court date over with as fast as possible because I have everything I need to exonerate me. And this is all just a ploy. This is all just an agenda to try to make me lose custody of my child.
And your attorney feels confident too and everything?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
When I first got arrested in June, it was for domestic assault, which is bad in itself, but it's a misdemeanor. They offered for me to plead guilty. They tried to drop the charges, but the victim didn't want to drop it. So she pressed forward, and they offered me no punishment whatsoever just to have it on my record. I said, no, absolutely not. And they said, if you don't take it, we're going to take it to the grand jury. We'll try to trump up the charges. We'll try to get you kidnapping. We'll try to get you. It's like, you do whatever the hell you want to do. I am not accepting anything other than full exoneration. So that's what they did.
What about the tell-all? Like, is there a tell-all coming? Were you not invited to the tell-all? And I mean, what is going on there with that?
That's correct. I feel that the network has bowed down to the pressure of a few thousand people, as opposed to the 3.3 million people that watch the show, which is unfortunate. We're in a different time now. The whole Me Too movement and whatever. So there's a lot of pressure to cower to the minority in wanting to make sure that they're not making the wrong decision. They didn't want to get into all the legal stuff, so I didn't invite. I didn't give a lot of the legal stuff to them.
If you're not going to be invited to the tell-all, like when are you going to do a tell-all, or was there anything that you'd like to say where it's like, at the tell-all, I'd like to clear this up? Like, what things are on your mind?
Well, there's a lot on my mind, and I'm going to release my own tell-all, to my YouTube channel. So subscribe, and I'm going to let it all be known there. And we'll dish out. We're going to have several people on to explain a lot of the situation that's going on. What
was the hardest comments to hear, or in the DMs or the comments that were negative about you?
There's a lot of stuff that really hurt me. I mean, there's people that, when you're down at your lowest, there's people saying, hey, go kill yourself, end it all, all this stuff. And it's like, it eats in you. And you're like, well, maybe I should kill myself. Maybe that's the right answer. You think about this stuff, not that I ever would, but you still dwell on that. And you have people talking about my son that passed away, it affects me tremendously, which I don't understand how somebody, especially the mothers and fathers, can say this about, to a person, maybe your son's better off, this and that. And I'm like, I may not be violent, but I will be violent with you if I ever see you, kind of thing. And it's sad that people resort to such negative and this bullying type of personality when it's just unneeded. If people really knew, if there was a fly on a wall and if they were a fly on a wall and they could see this stuff going on, then they'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Yeah. But all these people, when I am vindicated, I don't think they're going to apologize. I'll never get an apology from these people, which is sad.
Let me ask you about some of the other couples, like with Big Ed and and everything that he's doing. Like, what is your take on that relationship?
I mean, I'll just put it bluntly. I'm a blunt person. I like to put it bluntly. I think he's a pervert. I think it's disgusting the way that he treats her. I think that he's manipulating her. I believe, and take note. I am based and edited to look a certain way on TV, so I get that, and he probably is too, and I'm sure he's provoked or pushed to do certain things. But even if Varia was in a situation where I didn't even like her, let's say after the proposal when she said not now, I'm not going to go on there and say, hey, your breast stinks and you need to brush your teeth more and use some Listerine. Here, I brought you this. I'm not going to do that. That's just common sense. It's common sense that you don't do that to somebody. And I think he lacked a little common sense in those scenes.
Yeah, and I could say this: you shouldn't, because you're not. But I'm fat, and fat people should not be criticizing other people's looks. So it's like there's a lot he could work on first before throwing out criticism. So what about Usman and baby girl Lisa? Are you, I think you're close with Lisa, if I'm right.
I adore Lisa. I think Lisa's a cannon. I mean, she really is. But she's awesome. She has a great heart, and she really loves that man. I mean, she sincerely really loves that man. And as for Usman, I don't talk to him a lot. I get little snippets. I see conversations and whatnot, but I question him. I want to believe that he's in it for love, but then you just kind of weigh all the options. You really don't know.
I was surprised to hear that you feel like she's really in love, because it seems sometimes that these are just an even trade. And
I see behind the scene. I talk to Lisa, And I see her heartache and her stuff that she's going through and what she says about Usman. And like, she called me today. I know she's in love with this guy. I have no doubt about that. You know, my question is whether Usman is totally into it, whether he's playing the field, whether he's, you know, serious about taking on 7 wives or whatever it is. You know, I don't think Lisa really wants to be a part of that. She'll joke about it, but who really wants to be a part of that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what about, obviously, David and Lana, the last couple I want to ask you about? I mean, what is going through your mind when you're watching them on TV?
When I'm watching him on TV, I think he's a poor soul. But knowing, I'm seeing what he's putting out now, you know, like this, a lot of stuff's edited. That's not the way it went. She never said that, you know, all this stuff. So it makes me think that, you know, Lana is in it for some reason. Maybe it's love. Maybe it's for the Lamborghini he's standing beside. I don't know. But I believe that she's totally in it. And I believe that we'll see more of her.
Are you in a committed relationship right now?
I'm not even going to answer that.
Okay. But would you ever consider another dating reality show? Like, would you ever consider being The Bachelor?
I would definitely, if things don't work out for me and where the season ends, I would, obviously, I got a lot of baggage though, so there's not going to be any way that I'd ever be The Bachelor. But, you know, maybe some spin-off of The Bachelor, I could do that.
Who would you say would be your least favorite cast member from watching this season?
It'd have to be Williams.
Williams. Wherever he is, or whoever he is, it's Williams. That's a tough one, too. So, I mean, is she getting catfished?
Oh, my gosh. Are you kidding? Of course she is. The guy with the English accent that's clearly from Nigeria? Absolutely.
Why would you even look overseas to begin with? Because that's kind of a thing, you know, I mean, you're a good-looking guy, and there's plenty of women in America. Like, how does this happen where you get caught up with a foreigner?
Well, honestly, it was an ad that popped up on my screen over the top of something I believe it was on Yahoo. I was reading a Yahoo article, and it was, you know, find your Russian beauty or whatever it is. I'm like, I'm going to try this. So I clicked on it, and when I did, you know, it brought me to the site, and, you know, 3 or so days later, I connected with Varia, and it kind of went from there. I had no intentions whatsoever of really meeting somebody, but it happened.
Geoffrey, thank you so much for being on the show today.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Domenick.